Good night. Welcome to the Budget Committee meeting for March 24, 2022. This is our reorganization meeting. I am going to start the meeting, and then when we have our elected chair later on, I will turn it to our new elected chair. Carrie, if you can just do a roll call,
Okay,
please.
so we have Christia Claire,
Here.
Catherine Consalvo,
Here.
Sierra Dolce, Julie Hammond,
Here.
Julian Kishka,
Here.
Michael Mascola,
Here.
Todd McCormick,
Here.
Sue Sherman,
Here.
Mark Sherwood,
Here representing and observing as a school board member.
and Michael Boucher.
Here also observing.
Chris, do you want to lead us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. So probably all of you are familiar, most of you are veterans in the Budget Committee, so you all have in your package the Budget Committee handbook. What is included in this handbook is the RSAs that govern the budget process. There are chapters 32, 33, and 195. And we also have the Budget Committee bylaws, which are the internal rules and regulations that we have at Timberland Regional School District that guide us on what we do with our Budget Committee. For the newer members of our Budget Committee, and if anybody's new, well, Michael, you're new, I will encourage you to read through it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, but this is basically a manual on how the Budget Committee is regulated. If we can, Maria? Yes.
Sorry. Are there any significant changes in here from last year that we should be aware of?
No. No, they're not. We actually did we compared them, obviously, before we printed them. There's not significant changes
Okay.
at all. And I don't think it has been in the last 2 years. With COVID, they have not changed significantly any of the RSAs that have to do with budget, so.
Alrighty.
So now, if I can have nominations for chair.
I'll nominate Todd McCormick for chair.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'm willing.
Thank you, Todd. So I think at
No,
this,
everyone would need to vote, I think.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can do a roll call.
Or if there's any other.
You can ask if there's any other.
Oh, yeah, are there any other nominations for chair? Anybody have, no? Okay, so then let's just do a roll call and,
Okay. Christia Claire,
Yes.
Catherine Consalvo,
Yes.
Sierra Dolce, here, Julie Hammond,
Yes.
Julian Kishka,
Abstain.
Michael Mascola.
Yes.
Todd, do you get to vote?
I do,
Okay, Todd McCormick,
yes.
It's a vote of confidence.
Sue Sherman.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Abstain.
Vote.
I do not get to vote.
Okay, then we're good.
okay, so we have 6 yes, 1 abstain.
601.
Yes.
I think that's a congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. McCormick.
Thank you, Todd, for your service.
Keep staring.
So, all right, so I'm gonna take it over from here. Thank you, Maria. Can we have a nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Sue Sherman.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay.
I'm willing to serve.
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Catherine Consalvo.
Okay.
I'm sure I get it right.
Like to
Right.
pass on that? I will nominate Sue Sherman.
You either say you accept or no.
No, thanks.
Okay. All right. In that case, we'll go ahead and, I think we could just vote. I don't think we have to do roll call. So, all for Sue being vice chair, raise your hands. 6. Noes? Abstains? Julian abstains. All right. So 6-0-1. And we don't have any others for elections, so we'll move on to appointments. Do we need to do appointments for Carrie?
Okay, because it's a new year. Yes.
Okay, can we get a motion to nominate Carrie as our recording secretary?
Make a motion to nominate Carrie as recording secretary.
All right, second?
Second that?
Julie seconds. Julia. All right, let's vote for, well, any discussion? I'll say Carrie's been fantastic, so let's move that to a vote. All for Carrie being the recording secretary? 7, unanimous.
Congratulations again.
Congratulations.
Guys.
Congratulations to you too,
And
Sue.
Sue. Nice job.
Okay. If anyone's wondering, by the way, what the cupcakes are for, Christy brought those because it's Maria's birthday. So congratulations to that as well. All right. So do we have, I don't think we need to review and adopt the bylaws. Do we need to redo that?
We do, yes.
Okay.
And it's actually one change. The only change is that, as you all know, we are new now, SAU 106. So that's the only change that I am proposing for the bylaws, just to change the SAU 55 for SAU 106, unless you guys want to change anything else in the bylaws. So as we know, they are the annual, well, it starts with the annual organization meeting of the school budget committee, which is what we're doing tonight. It says the order where we select a chair, a vice chair, others if desired, and we adopt the bylaws, which is what we're doing. It spells out the schedule for the budget, regular budget committee meetings. It says that the budget should meet on the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. Here at the SAU, and this is where it mentions SAU, the number of our SAU. This is where I'm proposing to change it to 106. And then during the months of April, September, and February, shall hold 2 meetings a month. During the months of October through January, which is our budget season. With the second meeting of the month held on the 4th of the month. The budget committee should also hold 1 meeting in March, immediately following the organizational meeting, which is the meeting that we're having right now. So it spells out how the schedule should be, and I actually took that and I'm proposing a draft schedule tonight based on that, on the bylaws. Then it gives the guidance for the order of the regular meetings, which is what we basically have in our agenda for every meeting. It also says that the budget committee encourages members of the community to be part of the meetings. If anybody's interested, it's an open meeting. It mentions the guidelines for special meetings, what we need for quorum, what are the responsibilities of the officers, the appointments, attendance, vacancies, committees, parliamentary procedures, and amendments. So it's basically the guidelines of how the meetings are run. And so I don't know if you guys want to.
Do you know what was amended? I don't recall amending it on the 7th of March, 2022.
Well, that's the one that I am.
The
that we're
SAU
proposing,
change.
The SAU 106 change.
Okay.
The
Oh,
SAU. That was the day
that's this
that,
year. Okay, that makes sense.
that we created this manual. I don't know if we should put July 1st probably, because it's the beginning of the year,
Doesn't make sense.
or 3/24. I
No,
don't-
we can,
We would not be, can't do July 1st, 2022.
because the budget committee is meeting
Is
today, so
already
Yeah.
meeting, we're already
it will be
meeting.
today.
I'm fine with that. I would like to propose, though, that we alter the regular budget committee meetings by putting optional in parentheses after April.
During the months of April, put optional April. month
Just
of
for April.
Okay. Do we need a vote for that?
Wait a minute, during the
That's the only
months,
drawback to having bylaws be so darn specific that they get you, you know.
Do you have?
It should not have to be a bylaw change to put the correct SAU number into the bylaws. It's not a change, it's an administrative correction, in my humble opinion, but, once you get yourself tied up and it's gotta be the third Thursday when the sun is shining and, you know, only in April and, not that you can't call special meetings, there's a section on special meetings.
there
The
is,
chair can call a special meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So you tie yourself up, I think, but just my opinion.
the second Thursday of each month at 7 PM at the school administration during the months of April, September, February. That's very specific there.
Yeah, so what if we couldn't use this building? What if it flooded and we wouldn't be able to have a meeting? We'd have to call a meeting to change the bylaws, to move it to the high school?
Should it say in the location designated by the chair?
Also, in
I don't
February, the only meeting we do is
Deliberative.
deliberative.
Deliberative is
It is, but it's never here.
and so and it's never here, and the same thing with January, at the hearing.
As appropriate and convenient in order to complete the business of the committee.
Yeah,
Would adding that in just nullify all the,
Have they always been like that? Have they always been
Yeah.
this specific? They
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, these were the
Right over my head, I
SAU
guess I didn't pay
55
attention.
bylaws. I just,
I mean, you have in there, or upon adequate notice at another location or time.
Does time consider the
So you've
date?
already got, you're already covering yourself for a different
Double covering. it.
location.
Yeah. But if they've always been that way, I still think it's just an administrative change to make it say 106 instead of 55.
they were adopted in 1973, so I don't know what changes have been throughout the years, but I agree with you. I mean, it's tying up for very specific
In 73, was
situations.
this
building even here?
This building, I don't know, it just seems heady to me. So we have to take a vote on it, changing it to 106.
I would think so, yes. Just so we have the record that when it was changed and
Where's it saying 55?
It used to
it
say
used to say
55.
55 when, where
We meet
I,
at the SAU
Yeah.
106 building. Or any other place where we can meet.
as appropriate to business
Right.
needs. And that'd clear it all.
So here's what I'll make a motion, but I'm thinking the budget committee shall meet as needed, leave the parentheses or upon adequate notice. Wait, we'll meet as needed at 7 PM at the school administrative unit number 106 office or upon adequate notice at another location during the months of April, September, February, as opposed to saying second Thursday
Yeah.
of each month, okay? And the reason that I'm suggesting that is because typically over time, in my time being here, and even before then, have we ever met in April? Yes. Have we ever met in May? Yes. Did
We've
we have
also-
much to do? No, we did not.
Right. We've also met on nights that don't were Thursday, like in
Right.
November.
That's right.
That's right.
yeah, for the
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Tuesday. We met on a Tuesday.
That's right, but this is specifically addressing the months of April, September, and February. It's pretty straightforward, October through, and the reason September's like that is because we typically only will meet once in that month, although I've been here where we've met twice in September. We've also met in August as well. So, but I don't want to get too granular there, but I do want to, I think I do want to reword it just so that we're not bound by meeting in a month of, say, April, when, because I'm going to propose tonight that we don't meet again until September, unless as needed, right? Because
Who
things
decides
could
it's
come up.
needed?
Things could come up. And certainly anybody could reach out to me at any time and say, I think we need a meeting. I've noticed something in the financial reports that I, think we need a meeting for, and then we can certainly address that. But to just come here and meet when, July's the beginning of the fiscal, and we really don't have anything to meet and work on and construct when it comes to the budget until maybe late August. I mean, I think we met late August last year, and I thought that was a productive meeting. But to come here and spend an hour and a half and just invent things in the agenda is not really, I don't think that's really our mission. So I'd like to make a motion here to just kind of change that a little bit, but we can certainly keep the change that you're talking about, Maria, is the number 106 office. Is that what you're saying, or is that in
Yeah,
other
or-
places
Or
here?
if you want to leave it just a school administrative unit office.
Is there a change to 106 anywhere else that we need to
No, that
adopt?
was the only place that mentioned
Okay,
SAU 106 that had a specific meaning. We can leave, if you guys want to leave it the school administrative unit
Yeah.
office.
no, I mean, it's fine, let's leave, we can leave, that's our new SAU number, so we can leave that in. So I'd like to make a motion to strike on the second Thursday of each month at 7 PM and replace that with as needed. So it'll read, the budget committee shall meet as needed at the school administrative, and then everything else after what I just said we'd strike, on the second Thursday of each month at 7 PM. That goes away, replaced with as needed, everything else remains the same. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
All right, discussion?
It seems like that is referencing the October to January also, because it's all the same sentence, very long sentence. So then I think that leaves some confusion for the rest of the year when it should be the second and fourth the rest of the year, if you strike that. Because you're just talking about in reference to the April, September, February, but it's in reference to the following part also.
Well, that's the longest sentence in the history of
is.
sentences.
It is, but it is one sentence.
Oh, yeah, the 7
Let's do,
PM.
let me amend my motion. Will you withdraw your second, Sue?
Yeah,
I'll amend my motion to add a period after February and add they and add they in the next sentence. They shall also hold 2 meetings a month during the months of October through January, with this, and then the rest should be fine to remain the same. So that's my motion.
okay, I'll
Do
second that.
you want to add the time
Yeah.
of the meetings, or
I
no?
wouldn't.
No,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
The thing with removing the time, it sets it up for future litigation about who decides what time it is. What if I don't like 7 and I'd rather have it at 8? But you like 7, who gets to decide what time it's at? Without voting about changing, are we gonna vote every week if there's like argumentative people on here?
If we have to reschedule for
Yeah.
some particular reason, if there's a.
Or he's
Okay.
saying remove the time altogether, so each week would be a rescheduling and deciding, because it's not stated what the time is.
Okay, one more time, Sue, withdraw. Okay,
Well, I disagree, but I'll withdraw. I just don't think it's necessary. I hear what you're saying, Catherine, but we don't have to do that every meeting.
I mean, I doubt
The
anyone's,
chair has the right to call
Okay.
a meeting and the time.
Yeah.
You can't make, come
Okay.
at 8 then, you know?
That's always wondering how it works, if it's based on this, because it's been decided, or if the chair decides the time.
The
It'd be
chair,
nice if-
she's right, the chair does decide the
Okay,
time.
then we don't have to worry
Say,
about it then.
you know, seven's become a problem for us, I got softball or whatever.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
we-
so the chair decides,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, you should be able to congenially say, and get it noticed in enough
Yeah.
time, whatever it has to be, 2 weeks
Posted.
posted, or a week posted, or 48 hours,
Yeah.
that we moved it to 7:15.
Also, to Sue's earlier point, the more detailed we make it, then the more technically we should have to ask or vote
Yeah,
to go outside the bylaws, but by using it as more of a general, we'll meet as needed for those months, and then we're still committing to meet 2 times a month, October through January, right? So I restate my motion, Carrie. So we're striking second Thursday of each month at 7 PM and replacing that with as needed. And then we're putting a period after February and adding they to start the next sentence.
So do you want to just read the whole thing as proposed? So
Yeah, if you could, Carrie, and then, do we have a second again? Sue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it'll now read, the Budget Committee shall meet as needed at the School Administrative Unit 106 office, or upon adequate notice at another location or time during the months of April, September, February, period. They shall hold 2 meetings a month during the months of October through January, with the second meeting of the month held on the 4th Thursday of the month. The Budget Committee shall also hold 1 meeting in March immediately following the organizational meeting.
Yes. All right, any further discussion? All right, let's vote. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Unanimous. All right. And now we need to have a motion to adopt the bylaws. If somebody could make that,
I'll
please.
make a motion to adopt the bylaws.
I'll second it.
Second. Discussion?
So my only discussion is, so this is great, and I'm glad we're doing this, but it should be noted that at any point, if we want to revisit any topic in here, we can bring it up.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
So we're adopting it tonight, and if we need to discuss it later on,
that's true.
it's
We didn't even have to do it tonight. We could have done it as written and done it at a future meeting, but I figured let's get it out of the way now since our next meeting is,
You're supposed, if you have an amendment to the bylaws, you're supposed to give the group 14 days notice that you want to amend the bylaws. It's Robert's rules, but-
I got one question. What's the purpose of the second meeting after the organizational meeting? Why have it when you can just discuss whatever you want to discuss now?
outside of the
what's-
organizational meeting, you mean?
Yeah, it says, one meeting, it says, hold 1 meeting in March immediately following the organizational meeting, which is this one. So that means you have to have 1 more meeting.
No, we're just gonna.
No, this is the organizational meeting that we're in right now.
and
It
then
says
we'll
following
close
the
it.
organizational meeting.
Right,
That's
we have
after.
we do have a meeting right after,
there's 2 meetings tonight.
yes,
Oh, so they will be in the same night?
Yes.
Not another day?
no.
So he's
Right,
gonna,
got it.
Immediately following.
he's gonna adjourn this meeting in just a bit.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Let's call for a vote. All in favor of adopting the bylaws? 2, 3, 4. Unanimous? 7 yes. All right, and with that, I'm going to adjourn the Budget Committee organizational meeting at 7:34. And Dean, if you want to just keep things rolling, we'll call to order our official meeting. So, I saw this at the school board the other night, but my experience has been you still do a roll call and,
You're supposed to open the meeting again.
right, open the meeting, do the Pledge of Allegiance, the whole 9 yards, right?
I think you can skip the pledge.
Yeah.
That's what I did, but I would do everything else, the roll call.
Yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and do a roll call if we could, Carrie, for, we'll call this meeting into session at 7:34. It's still 7:34.
Perfect. Okay, Christia Claire,
Still here.
Catherine Consalvo.
Here.
Sierra Dolce. Julie Hammond.
Here?
Julian Kishka.
Here?
Michael Mascola.
Here?
Todd McCormick.
Here.
Sue Sherman. Here. And then for the school board, Mark Sherwood.
Observational, yes.
And Michael Boucher.
Here, also observing.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to go ahead and address that now. Mark and Michael are both here because the school board had their first meeting last Thursday. They have not officially decided who the rep from the school board is going to be on the budget committee. So they're both here observing because they're both interested in potentially being that representative. So they will not have a vote tonight. So we do not officially have a school board member yet on the budget committee, but that should be that will absolutely be rectified by the next time we meet. But we have a quorum of budget committee here, so we're fine as far as the votes that we need to vote. And I don't think we really need to vote on anything tonight, now that I'm looking again at the agenda. But anyway, that's their capacity tonight. So welcome, Michael. Welcome, Mark. Welcome back, Mark. So let's move on to approval of the minutes. We have December 9th. Well, we've got a few here. December 9th, 2021. January 13th, 2022, which was the public hearing. January 13th, that was our meeting after the public hearing. So if, let's start with a motion to accept all three of those minutes. And if we could get a second, then we can read through them and knock all three out with a vote. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
For all three packs?
For all three, yeah.
Well, the attendance was different,
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes?
yeah. So
All right, let's do them individually then.
Be there for the.
it just makes it more difficult.
First, let's see a motion for December 9th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to accept the December 9th
Okay,
meeting minutes.
I'll second. Discussion? Anyone have any changes? Anything that sticks out to you from December 9th? If not, I'll call for a vote to accept Sue's motion, or Michael's motion, to accept the December 9th, 2021 minutes. All in favor? 6 yes. Opposed? Abstain? Michael abstains. And we have a motion to accept the January 13th, 2022 public hearing minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 13th, 2022 public hearing minutes.
All right,
I'll second it.
Catherine seconds. Feel free to read through, discuss. All right, I'll call for a vote to accept the motion. All in favor? 3, 4, yes. Opposed? Abstain? 3 abstentions. All right, and finally, can someone put a motion out to accept the post-public hearing meeting? The minutes for the post-public hearing meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the January 13th post-public hearing meeting minutes.
Okay, I'll second it. Those are pretty quick, so give you a little bit of time to read. All right, I'm going to call for a vote. Those in favor of accepting the motion for the minutes of January 13th, 2022. All in favor, 4, opposed. Julie, you were 4, yes?
Sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
that's okay.
I was reading
Abstain.
something.
Hanging chad.
3 abstain. All right. Moving on. Maria, do we have any correspondence?
No, that I'm aware of.
All right, delegates and individuals, no dice. Let's move on to the administrative report, if you wouldn't mind. Chris Kellen?
Sure thing. A couple of, keeping it within the idea of finances, although it doesn't come back as money to the district, we had 3 great fundraising things that have happened recently. One was the Project Hope event at the high school, the Strut for a Cure, which raised significant money, over $10,000, I believe, ultimately is what is projected to be raised for cancer, for fighting cancer. The other being, and it happened some time ago, and I know I've reported about it at school board meeting, but the Atkinson first and second grade, first, second, third grade, readathon raised over $10,000 for Dartmouth Hitchcock Children's Hospital. And lastly, most recently, Charlotte Cotty, our New Hampshire Kid Governor, who is a Pollard School student, did a sock drive for homeless people, and I believe raised over 1,100 pairs of socks that were donated here in the schools. So just, in mind with finances, it's clear that we have a community that's very supportive of, causes, and so we're grateful for that. And I'm sure, as we look for further advocacy with respect to budgeting and things, that we would be hopeful to see, similar activities and things that might include things that address our budget and our own needs.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it just keeps going on and on.
Yeah.
Our schools are tremendous with that. We are accepting folks to apply as volunteers in our schools as we move forward with the spring, as we're moving further into our return to school plan. We will open up more and more for volunteers. Field days are coming up. Field trips are happening. So chaperones and things like that for those kinds of events. So if you are interested in chaperoning or volunteering in our schools, please contact our Human Resources Department to come in and be fingerprinted so we can move forward with that. But that's, once again, one of those exciting things for us in returning to quote-unquote normal. Really important, and you're going to start getting messages from me, is the 603 Bright Futures Survey. Some folks might be familiar with it. it's a survey put out by the New Hampshire Department of Education. It surveys parents, it surveys staff, and it surveys community members. It's a rather lengthy survey. It does take some time to complete. I've completed it as a parent, just to get a good sense of how much time it takes, and I'm a pretty quick survey taker. But it can take somewhere, in the 20-minute range, but it is incredibly important. It provides us a whole lot of information. It's done by the state of New Hampshire, Department of Ed. They're collecting the information, but then that information is available. You do it by school. So we do have some links on our website, but I will be sending out some messages and trying to further promote it. If it's correct, in looking at the 2021 responses, we had an incredibly low number of responses. I'm talking in, less than 100, significantly less than 100. So we are really looking forward to trying to get some of this information. Yes, Mark?
Less than 100, including staff and general public combined?
Maybe, I don't know. I could double check that though, and I can report on that at the school board, because, definitely gonna bring this up to try and get the message out there. It collects a lot of information. I wanna say there were 50 to 60 questions. And it'll be really helpful for us to have that information.
Can you do that call, the robocall throughout the district?
Oh,
to-
yeah. Sure, yeah, you'll be sick of me by the time the survey closes.
When does this need to be completed by?
I believe it was April 7th or 8th or something like that. It's.
'Cause the email went
No,
out.
it might be April 15th, I apologize, but it's.
Email went out.
Yes, an
Yeah.
email went out.
Yeah,
I don't,
I just didn't remember the date,
yeah, and I'll clarify that I didn't think to look at that. I didn't plan on your questions. Let me see what else I had on here on my notes. Again, in line with budgeting, we are submitting a number of reports and requests for reimbursements, whether they're for federal grants or Medicaid or special education aid. So we are deep into that at this time of the year, trying to bring in as much revenue as possible in the district to offset our own expenditures. We are also in hiring season. It is, it has really just begun. We have been interviewing for some key administrative positions, including Director of Human Resources, and we had just started interviewing for the Assistant Superintendent position. So, and we've had some good candidates already, so we're excited by that. Spring sports and spring concerts and everything else that happens in the spring is starting. Graduation plans and proms and semis. The semi-formal, the junior semi is this weekend on Saturday, I know. But, so all of those things are happening, so it's an exciting time. We're all looking forward, I know, to get outside more and have our students and staff enjoy the opportunities as we move forward back to, more normal circumstances, so. And that's all for now.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
All right. Did you have anything, Maria?
No, I will say, as Chris said, we are in full hiring season. We are, we have a lot of available positions right now, and we will have even more when teaching positions and other. So I really want to encourage the public to reach out and be part of our staff if there is interest, because we really are looking forward to build our Timberlane staff.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, next up, we'll go to reports of committees. This will be pretty brief. Budget committee members, typically that's the CIP committee. Sue represents us on there. I can assume you haven't probably done a CIP meeting in...
We have not.
No, definitely not this year. I'd like to make... Did you want to stay with that, Sue, or maybe we throw that out and see if there's anyone else
Well, I was
interested?
hoping that Christie followed me along through what we went to last year. It's a shame she didn't really get the whole big picture of what it should be and could be. And it's not our committee, it's the school board's committee, so
Right.
hopefully they're gonna get back going, and we'd encourage the school board members that are here to carry that message back, that we would like to participate have you use that committee the way it should be and plan a CIP that makes it better for the voters to plan ahead. And I was hoping that Christie would want to take that on, and I'll support you whatever way, unless there's somebody else that wants to
Exactly.
do that.
So that's something I'd like to decide today, because if we don't meet again until late August, September, then you know, hopefully that CIP committee will start meeting when the school board starts really ramping up. So if there's anyone else that's interested, I think we should probably take this opportunity to name who we want to sit at that committee. And Sue, how often do they meet?
Well, it was
When
supposed
it's
to be, yeah.
let me rephrase.
Yeah.
When it's in full effect.
Quite a lot in the early months of April and May, and then they take some time off and then hit it hard again September, October to be done and ready to present a CIP, not only to the school board, but present it here as well.
Right.
So you should be meeting a couple times a month
Okay.
in those months
Okay.
by their bylaws.
Right. Is anyone else interested in being a part of that? So roughly 2 times a month. I think the committee's made up of school board, a couple from the school board maybe.
Well, it's
One-
4 school board, 4 community members, 1 budget committee member.
Okay,
There's an at-large position too, but
okay,
it's the only committee where we have community representation.
right. Is there anyone who doesn't know what the CIP is? I mean, we've all been on the budget committee now, you know, for a couple of years. So it's the capital improvement plan. It's generally a 5-year plan. And it's where we prioritize the stuff, well, most, if not all of us, went and saw all the facilities last year. You basically, it's prioritized to figure out what needs to get fixed in the next year, what needs to get fixed in the next 2 years. So it's different than the strategic plan, but it's equally important, especially if you've seen the facilities. And it's our one committee that we generally have a seat at the table to participate in. So, last year Christie shadowed, Sue and went to a couple meetings. But if anyone else wants to throw their name out, otherwise we could, I don't even know if we need to vote really. I think I would just,
You can appoint
I would just choose Christie, but if anyone else was interested, I'd consider anyone else that wanted to. No? All right, Christie, did you want to do it?
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to.
All right, then Christie, next time we have a budget committee member report of committee, you will be letting us know what's
Okay.
happening.
All right.
Okay, yes,
So should we have a backup in case?
that's a good idea. Would anyone like to be an alternate to Christie if she can't make a meeting?
I'll be a backup.
All right. Julie, you are the alternate to the CIP committee.
And we should probably notify the school board just so they,
Yeah, that's
Oh,
your committee,
sorry.
so let them know
Yeah.
who you're gonna send.
Yeah, we have 2 of them here, so,
there we go.
I will reach out to the chair anyway, but, you know, feel free to bring that back. These guys are, I know, in the middle of forming who's gonna be on what committee, from the school board perspective, so now you know who you can expect to be on the, CIP from the budget committee. That said, even though you 2 are not voting tonight, typically this part of the agenda on the budget committee meetings is reporting to us anything of note that you wanted to talk about and bring to our attention. I watch the school board meetings, not everybody does, so if there's anything you wanted to throw out there from your first meeting, feel free at this point. If not, that's totally fine too, because, you know, it was a fairly quick meeting last Thursday.
I'm not certain how much was substantive that we could enlighten you with.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot of action taken, right? So, okay.
Not at all.
But going forward in our budget committee meetings, when we start ramping up during the budget season, we would look to you to bring your thoughts, not necessarily just your thoughts, but the will of the
Representative.
school board,
Be the will of the
the will of the will of the school board. When you're here as a school board rep, you're voting as a budget committee member, right? But your vote generally is the will of the school board,
Reflective of.
right? So you get 1 vote on this committee, and then you're hopefully bringing what you guys have discussed at your school board meetings to bear here to kind of guide us and what the school board is looking to do with the budget that we're formulating. So, all right, that said, we'll move on. Do we have any unfinished business? No, I wouldn't think we would. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to new business, and I'm gonna hand it over to Maria to talk about the election results, the approved budget, budget process overview, which you can go pretty light on that probably, since everyone here has been through this, and then review and discuss our meeting schedule.
So you'll have in your packages the copy of the voting results. I was very happy to see the results, the support that we have from the community. I think these results speak for the support and the trust that the community has in the school board and what we do here every day. So in the school district and what we do here every day. So I want to extend thank you to all the voters that went and voted for our initiatives. We had three articles for CBAs for our employees, collective bargaining agreements for our employees. The 3 articles passed, and obviously that has an impact of our total budget. So the amount for those 3 articles get adopted into our operating budget. As they pass, they were adopted. So just to point out also, I included the sample of the ballot, where you can see the 3 articles that were adopted. So we had Article 3, which was the first collective bargain agreement for $135,550. Then we have Article 5, which was for $137,283. And then we had Article 7 for $40,887. So those 3 articles got added to our budget. So if you see, you have the graph of the budget, the recap of the budget, which I think is a very helpful visual of our budget. So the first column is the proposed 2023 budget. So with the 3, well, let's go to the right side. So the warrant the proposed budget in the warrant was $75,753,607. Then, as you see, the 3 articles that I just mentioned were added to it. And the Article 9, which is our capital reserve contribution. So we have a total voted budget of $70,317,329. So that is our adopted budget for fiscal year 2023. If you go into the left side, it shows each portion of the budget that corresponds to salaries, benefits, and operating budget. As you can see, more than 70% of our budget is our personnel, including salaries and benefits, and then a little shy of 25% is our operating budget. So, do you have any questions about the budget or about the voting results?
I think that one page is very descriptive and says it all. It's a good job.
Well done.
Thank you. And then you have the detailed report by object and function. So you have all the lines pretty much of the budget for all of you that are not veterans, that are not too familiar with the budget and the process. You can have the detail and look at it.
So for those who don't know, all of this is available to us online on the Budget Committee website. My question is, what does the username and password give us access to?
You should have received an email.
Oh, I've had one for
from-
years, but I don't know if it ever was sent out to everyone else. What's behind that username and password that we have access to that's Because, I mean,
That's not available to the
Oh,
public.
that
yeah, because typically I just go on there and don't even bother logging
So
in,
I
and I have never found that I can't have access to whatever I
I
want.
don't log in either.
I don't
Right?
think, I think it's set up the same way as the board, where.
The school board,
The
yeah.
school board, because they're the same platform, so I think they were set up the same way. I don't think for the budget committee is anything there that we don't make available to the public.
Okay. Do
Wasn't
you
there
re-
something before where, I remember this with the previous business administrator, if we had draft meeting minutes, they might put them out there, but they didn't want the public to get them, and then.
Before they were approved?
Before they were
They
approved.
were approved, okay.
And so I think there was things like that.
Okay. Would you
Yes,
ask
I can find
Ken
out.
to identify anything that, I mean, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, but I want to make sure that, that there aren't files that I could have access to that I've just
That you
not.
don't, because you
Yeah.
don't log in, yes.
Because
no.
typically I just go look at this, right? I mean, that's on there. You can go see approved minutes, and it goes back, I mean, decades. So you can go way back. And the more things Maria creates, and the pie charts and the analysis, that stuff's all on there as well. And as it should be, and available to everybody to go and look, everybody out, even outside of the budget committee. But I'm just curious. All right,
Okay, I will definitely find out.
thanks, Maria. Does anyone have any questions, want any discussion points regarding the budget as you see here?
No.
So as always, if you have any questions, if you want to detail behind any number, if you want to drill down on anything, I encourage you to just please get in touch with me, and I'm happy to provide any information that I have. As you know, I gave you the 10-year, detail for the budget to actual for the last 10 years, and I'm happy to provide any information that you think might help you to understand better.
Great. All right, thanks, Maria. On to other business. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up during other business? Michael?
So in the past, I just want to put it this way, I'd like to make sure that the budget committee website reflects all the current members with whatever contact that they want. So if anybody in the committee wants to reach out to us.
Yeah, I
Now to
think
get this.
Carrie already took care of that.
I was
We
gonna
can-
say, that was gonna be the after, just make sure the right phone numbers are on there. I already took care of the contacts, or the names and everything.
And does it still have how to reach the budget committee, like budget@Timberlane?
Yes, and I have access to that email.
The email, yes.
Right. So usually when I ask for like correspondence, years ago, I mean, I haven't seen an email come through, I think since back when you were chair.
But that's what I want to make sure is the link, so it goes to that email, and then if you're receiving them, everything gets forwarded off to the chair. So when
the
you're
chair.
asking, and you say nothing, we really got nothing.
Nothing,
Right.
yeah, there's nothing in that, yeah, Carrie
No,
has
there's nothing
access
in
to
there.
the email.
That's what the username and password was for.
Oh, there's all those emails.
7,000 emails.
We can print them all out.
Yeah.
But I can double check and make sure everything links up.
I'm gonna test it tomorrow.
I'll email you back.
Okay, any other business?
The only other thing that I want to mention also is that we are waiting for the town of Sandown
Yes.
to let us know who they're appointing to for the budget committee.
That's right. Their deadline is tomorrow for receiving letters of intent or letters of interest, and after that, I'm not sure what their timeline is
Follow
for.
up with that for you.
Okay. So yes, but we should have two reps from Santa. We do have Sierra, who had something already previously scheduled and wasn't aware that we would have this meeting. So, but she is excited and will be here when we start getting going. But I feel very confident that we'll have two reps from Sandown representing that town for the budget committee. All right. With that, let's move to the future agenda. Oh,
Sorry, one more.
Yes.
For other business. So I think we started discussing, well, I was chatting privately, but this is in regards to the New Hampshire Education Voucher Program. So I think it would be beneficial if we can get some more information maybe in September, where if we can maybe reach out to a state rep, if we can get somebody for administration. And the purpose is not to so much cast our opinions, but to inform the public of where our state is going with public education. And so between the school board and everything like that. So maybe it'd be a good idea to somehow sneak some time in September just to update us and the community.
And you were mentioning that years ago, there were other instances where both school board and budget committee would have somebody come in, like a state
Tried,
rep.
but usually if it's a hot topic, they don't want to be put in the firing line.
Yeah.
But you know, if we reach out to maybe a rep and we tell them, look, we're not here to assault anybody. We just want to learn what is the state doing, you know.
And how might it impact
Yeah, I
the
think
creation of our
it's
budget?
a financial impact that it could have
Exactly,
on our school district. We as a budget committee should know that,
right.
know those facts.
Similar to that, would we want information around adequacy and other,
Sure.
revenue streams?
Sure.
Or in legislation that might impact those streams of, those revenue streams.
I mean, ultimately, our job
yeah.
is, we're stewards of what the tax rate's gonna end up being, right? In the future for all the towns. So I think it's important to know, what revenue streams could, if ever, offset and, have a positive impact on,
Right.
right?
So,
Not just negative.
I don't want to tread on the school board territory, but if they're also concerned and already looking into this, maybe we can reach out to their chair and, I don't know, put a little task force with one school board rep, one budget rep, to try and, I don't know, collect some information from state reps and, feed it upwards to administration and do something for September.
Okay. All right, duly noted. I'll talk to the chair of the school board about it. Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Anyone else? All right, let's look at the future agenda. This was built off of basically what we did last year, I believe, right, Maria?
Yeah, the bylaws, yeah, which is what we did last year.
Right, but like when it comes to the tours,
Like the
right?
tours and who presented,
Oh,
what
yes,
order.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
so I just added that in case you guys wanted to do it again. I'm not sure if that's your desire again, this is just a draft.
So it is a draft, and we clearly don't know that these particular departments can present on these dates this far in advance.
Right,
But,
exactly.
but knowing that we have a general idea of, and you could dictate to them, this is when we would like you to do it, it gives them more time to plan. I mean, I liked how it went last budget season. I loved the tours, even though it's pretty much the same budget committee. Add Sierra, potentially Michael or Mark, whichever. But the bottom line is on these tours, school board is welcome as well. And I mean, Barbara came last year to the tours, as well as I think some other school board members attended as well. And I think they're public.
They are public, yeah.
Yeah.
Public.
So
Yeah, they are,
yeah.
yeah, they are.
So it's not just the budget committee and the school board, but people from the district can come and see the buildings. And I'd like this to be a thing every year and let people come see what we saw last year. And even though we all saw it just this past year, I mean, things change in a year. So I think it's vital, and I think it really makes it tangible for when we're creating the budget to have a preview of what all the facilities look like and what state they're in. So I'd like to keep those on there. Mark?
May I suggest we officially or formally invite the representative of the town, the selectmen, to come, because they face a lot of heat, tax rates, where's all this money going to, because the general public may not be as aware, and this would help arm them, at least in one aspect of where the money's going from our town taxes, and they are the representatives of the people.
They are.
Just do, a formal invite.
Yep. And you know what?
So that they know, so that they remember, we all get busy.
That reminds me, I mean, Julian, you've been on the selectmen in Plastow, right? I mean, there are people in towns that don't know why their tax rate is what it is and might not know that it's the school, and they'll show up to a Board of Selectmen meeting and be like, why, what's going on here? And that's a great point.
Frequently.
That's a great point. Michael?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess to the point of also inviting the community, as a community member, I wasn't aware we can go on these tours, so maybe it could be a better way of advertising it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the magic robocall.
Or posting the
Told you,
town
you'll be
halls.
sick of
Yeah, town halls is a good idea.
Posting the town halls.
Yeah.
Some of you already are, probably.
What's that?
You'll be sick of me, if you're not already.
I second that.
Well,
Can't
the
vote.
school board used to go
It was a
and
lull, it's
present.
been a lull.
I used to call it the state of the school board members from each community. I mean, I presented in front of Julian when he was on the board, what's happening at the school board level and what, I always thought we should have a budget committee member with us too, to say where the planning is going financially.
Yeah.
That was always a good discussion among, at least in Plastow, it was a good discussion. Very enlightening stuff.
Right.
I don't know if they still are gonna do that again ever, or.
What's your take on that? You like that idea of?
I like that idea. There were some warrant articles in certain years where people didn't understand them. And we actually invited school board members, people from the school board, said, why don't you come explain some of these warrant articles and what they really mean?
Mhm.
There were many things that came out in the state, like the gambling thing that they came out for a little while, that they had in the
Keno
stores, and
for
how
kindergarten.
Keno, how was that going to affect, and where was that money going, and how was that gonna work? There were many, the withdrawal warrant article, people didn't understand that. But the thing was, we did want people to come in to talk and speak, but not speak for or against them.
Yeah.
Just
Because it
information.
needed to be just strictly information.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't slanted in one direction or another, so it was fair to the public. Because, people are very influenced by someone pushing one side or another, and they won't listen to the facts, they'll just get the attitude, I should vote for it, or I shouldn't vote for it. You give them the real facts and let them decide, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea. I think more people probably watch a selectmen meeting than the school board ones. You can just look at deliberative session, totally different crowd of people show
Yeah.
up for school and versus. And it's a good thing I think if I was still on the board of selectmen, I would definitely invite the warrant articles for the school to be presented on a certain night, along with our warrant articles, so that they could see the big picture. They're coming on one day to vote for things, and they're kind of looking at one side and not the other. And what they really most don't realize is that 75 to 85% of their budget, their tax bill was actually going to the school.
Right.
So those votes are important.
Right.
And if you're gonna spend a lot of money also, where's it going? How is it being used? Is it going for a good purpose? Those are good things to know, rather than, oh man, you're taking half my paycheck.
Yeah.
You wanna know that how it's being spent.
Yeah.
That's going for a purpose, not just that it's going down to the tax collector somehow, and we don't know where it's going. And a lot of times they just see the simple things, like who's plowing the roads, and the things that they see in front of their house. They don't see what's going on at the district level. They see the local stuff, trash pickup, roads, snow, trucks, emergency vehicles, things like that. So it's really good for the public to have some insider education to the rest of their voting experience,
Right.
the rest of how their money is being utilized.
Michael or Mark, do you know, is one of the committees that they're trying to fill with school board members, is there a community relations committee?
Doesn't exist.
Did there used to be?
There was. It's not a standing committee, it was an ad hoc committee.
Okay. I'll reach out to Steve Finnegan and see what he thinks about that. I
Be a
think
good time
he'd
to
be,
Refresh all that,
Yeah.
here we are coming out of things hopefully, and let's get back
New
to
chapter.
trying to be communities working together and
We
letting
will be.
everybody know what's going on.
And just one more thing I'd like to add to that. There was something that was done in Plastow years ago, and it hasn't been done in years. They used to be right before voting, they would actually have a video that came on, they had a representative, a select for the budget, whatever, and they would go through each article and explain what it was about. And that's something people would actually sit at their couch at their home and actually just watch it. A condensed version, no argument, no discussion. This is what it is, and this is what it means, these are the numbers, and go to the next one.
Right.
And that would,
Without
that was useful.
electioneering, it was pretty well done over the years.
Wait, so it's a pre-recorded,
They recorded it in
In a
our
studio.
TV studio. We have a TV studio in Plastow, and somebody over there who
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
It was really well done. They had budget committee members.
yeah, and the town managers,
Town
people who knew what they were
manager.
talking about.
Yeah.
And the same thing would happen, if you did some, from the school side, you could
Do
have
the
like
same
the
thing.
superintendent or or Maria here, and someone from the budget committee, someone from the school board. And you could explain different parts and say, this is what this means, not just, well, here's the thing, yes or no.
Right.
But so you could explain things, how the budget works, how the default budget works a little bit, you know, and as long as it doesn't drag out for hours. It's gotta be condensed, so people will sit there, watch it, absorb it, and move on.
And you can have,
Yeah.
links to more detail for people that do want to go deeper
That's
into
right.
something.
That's
You could-
correct.
You could, other videos with additional detail.
Dean would edit it.
Yeah, a lot of people get angry at the towns because they just don't know what's going on. They don't understand what's going on.
yeah,
You'll see that a lot at the school board. People come to the school board and they complain and they shout and they yell at each other. And it's really, a lot of it, if you listen to it, it's because they don't really understand what's going on.
well, yeah, and like at deliberative, where
it's-
they were mad that people were changing warrant articles, like, well, that's what that's what you do here.
Yeah, but I've talked to state reps again. I said, I think it's an atrocity that a citizen petition can have its intent changed.
Yeah,
Let the people vote on it.
I agree with you, yeah.
So there's there's like 2 words in the RSA that leave that loophole in there.
Yeah,
And it has gone to the Supreme Court, but the legislation hasn't changed the wording.
yeah,
Even the judge that had to rule the other way one time when it had to explain, I agree with you, but I had to rule against you because it does allow the loophole.
yeah,
So it's really kind of, if you just take a warrant article, it goes on there and it has no meaning, it's almost a waste of paper.
yeah.
And you don't get to hear the voice of the people. So, yeah, I've talked to our 4 state representatives a few times, and I talked to them again in the last month. So it's hard to push things through though, so.
Yeah, I know. All right, so for now, this is the schedule. All right, so our next meeting would be the 6th, but it actually would be a tour. So the first one, oh wait, that's a Tuesday. Tuesday, Thursday. So as it stands right here, our next budget committee meeting would be the 22nd of September.
Right, so let me just, as you're doing this, if we do all these tours and then we talked about informing like the town selectmen, it'd almost be good if maybe you do your homework by reaching out to the other selectmen, but the other chair of the school board. But if we could, you can send out some type of plan that says, somebody from each, if you can get one school board member and one budget member from each town to say, listen, we're going to go do these tours, because if we show up on the 22nd, the tours are all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we want to advertise and promote, come join us, we need to go tell them before we start the tours.
Right.
And we're not meeting then.
No, but I'm going to propose that we do what we did last year and meet and make our first meeting.
So this is what I would tell you, since you really can't conduct your meeting through email, I'll tell you, I'd be more than willing to go in front of my town, to go tell the selectmen, welcome and come join us at these public tours. So maybe if we can just get who's interested, then you're not conducting business, but you can say, go for it, ladies and gentlemen, go see your selectmen.
Reps from
You
each
go-
town.
Exactly.
So you are,
I'll go comfortably with Sue and Julian.
okay,
They'll come,
Where
right?
are we going?
We'll go in front of the selectmen.
To
Oh,
notify
the
them
Plastow
of the.
If we went in front of the
tours.
Plastow selectmen, we bring a Plastow school board member, if they want to come, and we just say, listen, come look at our tour facility, and then we just, something very simple.
yes. But as far as the meeting and going and explaining warrant articles and the budget and that
not
sort
at
of-
this time.
No, we would do that once we're already
Once you're
like
all set.
full
Yes.
tilt and moving along and, yeah,
Once the
yeah.
budget's set.
So that's a good idea. I love it. Christy and I could go and do that in Danville. Would you guys be willing to do that in Atkinson? And
Yes.
will you relay that to your
Yes, and
future
the
Santa?
selectmen are voting Monday night. They do have letters of interest. Monday night, they're voting. They will officially appoint someone.
They have multiple letters of interest? That would
I
surprise
was
me.
rather sloppy with that verbiage.
That would
They have
surprise
a
me.
letter of interest. I'm trying to be an optimist, man, silver lining.
I mean, we're interesting,
optimism.
guys. We are.
Second page.
All right. So
Calling me out.
that's good. So that's good. So if you could relay that to them, let's get the messaging out between now and. But I would like to propose that we meet in late August as our first meeting, and not wait for the 22nd to be our first meeting as a committee. So obviously that's dependent on the school board schedule.
The school board meets the first and third
First,
First and third
Thursdays.
In August? No, it'd only be the third Thursday.
But if you call a special meeting, it would be the
Well,
first or third,
The school board meets on the first and the third Thursdays. That's why. we
even
tell
if
you the
they,
budget.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so it will be the fourth.
Todd, what about meeting after the tour on September 8th?
the only thing with that, Julie, is the last tour I went on hit multiple schools, and there were lots of questions, and we didn't walk out of Atkinson and Academy until like, I think it was like 8:30 at night. 'Cause that in and of itself was a fantastic tour. I mean, I loved seeing what we saw, but you said the first.
August 26th will be the fourth Thursday in August.
August 25th.
25th.
25th,
would be the
26th, 25th, sorry. yeah.
Fourth Thursday of the month.
So the 25th is not a school board meeting.
Correct.
It's not.
I'd like to propose that we add that in as our first meeting. Does anyone have any opposition to that?
August 25th?
Yeah. Okay.
Not now.
All right. So that's when we'll meet. And it probably won't be a long meeting because we will not have, well, at that point, Maria, you could just kind of give us a review of where we are. And I mean, we'll only be 2 months into the fiscal year.
Right,
There won't
which-
be a ton of detail, but we'll be able to get kind of a kickstart into the budget
Well, the books will be
season.
closed on the other budget.
Yes,
But
yes,
maybe by the 25th of August.
yes.
Yeah,
Michael?
my MS-25 is due on September 1st, and we hardly.
So maybe as like a back burner we can put on these agendas. So maybe at that meeting, we can have just a refresher that we're all gonna go in front
Try to
of the
invite-
selectmen.
Yeah.
That could be on there. The next thing is maybe we can have some more of an update on all of this voucher program
Yep.
and stuff, so, you'll let us know, if you want us to reach out to our reps.
Yes,
So we can just kind of recap and kickstart some of those things.
yes. It'll almost be like, even though it's not a committee that we're forming necessarily, everyone can report back what you've already communicated to your selectmen as far as the tours. And feel free to throw out that we're considering, doing some sort of a community outreach to all the Board of Selectmen at one of their meetings, to some point during the budget season. And I'm sure that they'd love that. I
You
mean,
have the right to appoint a committee.
I do.
I propose you appoint a committee and make Mike the chair of that subcommittee that we all go out to our. I mean, I'm trying to take some of the burden off you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'll tell you what
Since Mr. Mascola is so willing.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking of doing is I'm gonna reach out to Steve and see if that's something he would be interested in doing from the school board perspective, is trying to maybe regenerate a community relations type committee where we could have a group of folks, somebody from the budget committee, somebody from the school board, somebody from the administration, to kind of formulate that as a more formal thing where there might be some meetings involved, and then then the same group of people would maybe go and do that, right? So more to come on that. I got a few things I'm going to reach out to him about, so.
So in addition.
Yes.
Yeah, just some comments on that. You were talking about if you're gonna get more people to show up possibly for these tours, it's probably gonna slow it down some.
Yeah.
So you may want to split it up into more days, maybe one school per day or whatever. And I think using the the Carriage Town News or something like that to get the word out, because you don't want to spend money on mailers and whatever. And people don't necessarily look at emails, and they don't necessarily look at the websites of towns.
I agree. The
Yeah,
Carriagetown News.
People get the Carriage Town News, they stick it in their mailbox.
Yeah.
And if you put an article near the front page or whatever, they'll say, hey, there's something going on here. And that's a good way to get the word out.
Right.
But you will possibly get more people showing up, so that may cause an issue. So you might have to schedule it such that if more people show up, it doesn't,
Yep.
you're not gonna be there till 11 o'clock at
It's a longer
night.
night.
It is a longer night.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I like, I
important.
said
I just
August
want
25th
to note
meeting.
that as it is, well, we already have like pretty much at least 3 nights a week as administrators have things that we
Yeah.
do.
Right.
We have committees, we have the school board meeting, we have budget committee
Yeah.
meeting.
Or spread it out over more weeks, not have it all in one week. Because there's no real, it doesn't have to be done in this particular month. It could be done, spread it out a little bit, this
But it's-
school, this
How about
month, this
it's
school,
live
next
streamed?
month.
And then
We
nobody
could
has to
look at
go.
filming.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nice to see those things before you hear the presentation about what Atkinson is hoping for, or what the CIP is hoping to do over in
Yeah.
Atkinson. To have seen with the facilities
Yeah.
director and the principal, what's going on. So I hear you stretching it out, but we need to see that stuff to help you craft the
Yeah.
budget.
Plus, they're the same people that are coming to present.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to see it earlier, but just spread it out a little longer, and then you don't have the issue with the time and being late and I understand the scheduling of employees and stuff, whatever, but
We can do
But we
them
could
over
look
the
at film,
summer too.
yeah, we could look at filming, doing a
Yeah.
tour, filming the facilities that, live on the website. You can just click on it and view each facility. We could do it more quickly than if we're following the tour itself, right? And Dean could do some editing and highlight areas, we might decide.
And that could be helpful when people are looking at the budget and making good decisions.
That's actually a very good idea. I was originally thinking of inviting the selectmen, obviously to all the towns, not just the Sandown facilities. But if there were a video there and we could link it up, if people had specific questions, hey, why does XYZ need to be repaired? Here's a video.
Right.
That's the easiest way to make it accessible to the public.
Yeah.
The other thing,
Thank you, Dean.
just with regard to the community engagement piece, we are going to be moving into revising our strategic plan. So it's, it runs through 2023, so we're going to need to start that work sooner than later and, moving throughout the year, so it's a good time to consolidate those efforts and engage the entire community in not only the strategic plan, but the budgeting process as part of the strategic plan.
Right.
And just make people more aware,
Right.
become more involved, that's
And
the
that
goal.
committee is made up of, there are 4 people from the community that'll be invited to be part of it? I think
Oh,
so.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be, not only that committee, but we're gonna need a lot of community involvement from all different groups and stakeholders and individuals to participate in that.
Yeah. Okay.
When do all the things that fall under that strategic planning, when do those start going into effect? When do we start working on some of those things? I haven't heard an update on that since, it's been a while.
Actually, at the last board meeting, they asked for an update on where we are
Okay,
with
I
some of
missed
that
that.
strategic planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got pretty curious about it because from what I know, they haven't met for about a year.
It was
It's due.
it's
There's a
where we're
5-year
at by
plan.
22, the plan's in operation.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not
We've
continuing
hired,
to
we've
build
hired
it.
the company, right?
Oh, yeah.
That is doing it. That happened.
Oh, you mean
That
the-
happened pre-proposal, I think,
Oh,
right?
you're
We're talking
talking
about
about the,
Performance.
Oh, I'm
performance
talking about the
plan.
performance. I am talking about the
Yeah.
performance.
Different
I'm
things.
sorry. You're right.
strategic
You're
plan
right.
is that whole
Yes,
strategic.
you're right.
Big umbrella.
You're right.
This is the energy
Will we get
performance.
any
Yes.
updates on that performance?
Yeah, it has been pretty
Last
much
board meeting, I
every
think there
other
was
board
Carl
meeting,
gave
we
an
give an
update.
update.
Okay,
So
yeah,
what
that's
is going
definitely what I'm
on is
talking
they
about.
are
Bless you.
focusing on the middle school because we have the ESSER funds, which are the very restricted funds that we
Right.
got for COVID relief.
Right.
The easiest way to use those funds is concentrating it at one school because it costs a lot more to build or to change, do anything,
Right.
any capital improvement with those funds because we have to pay, there's so many regulations.
Yep.
So what the proposal that we're gonna put forward is to do it at the middle school, which is the school that is in most need of the HVAC systems.
Yep.
And it's a school that serves the 4 towns, so we thought it's a good rationale behind, like, the need is there, and it's a school that serves all the towns.
Right.
So they're focusing right now on that. The approval process with the state is very long, and it takes a lot of paperwork and time, and the state, obviously, all the districts in the state are requesting these funds, approval for these funds, so the state is very behind on approvals. So we're waiting for that. And then they are still doing the assessment in each of the schools, which is, it takes a long time to go through everything in every school. And the idea is that in the fall, probably by October, they will have the report of all the schools, what is needed. So the way it works is they give us a list of everything that is needed at every single school, everything that the district needs. And they said, and this is how much we can save doing these
Right.
things. So obviously,
Right.
you're gonna have a very long list of things that are
I'm
not
just
gonna be
curious of the
covered.
things that are gonna fall under that list and will be accepted under that list, cause I
Right,
mean, there's the whole
right, because it's
process.
an effect on the CIP.
It very
That's-
much so,
that's a
and to see
huge-
some of those things
This
that have
is
been
a
sitting on there for years and
passion.
years and years and just being dropped to the bottom of the list
Right.
is
That's right. Good work.
very interesting, yeah, yeah,
We'll need to have you involved in that.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me give you the book.
The book,
The book.
I don't know if I'm worthy of the book
Not
yet,
that
Sue.
All
I
right,
have seen the book, I've never touched the book, but I've
so
seen it.
we can't meet electronically, but we will get messaging out if anything changes here. But for now, the schedule is the schedule. Our first meeting will be August 25th. And if anything can be done with the tours, and we anticipate a large crowd, certainly, that could change, whatever works best for the employees and the staff that are gonna be assisting us with that. Obviously, we'll need Carl for all of those. He's a fantastic tour guide.
And if you're gonna film it, you're gonna need a filmer.
Yep.
Dean?
I think if we're gonna film it, we're gonna film those separately, cause the
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
You don't
people
want-
aren't gonna watch an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Right.
But if we can
We
do the
just gotta
same
edit it
tour
all.
and show the same thing in 20, 30 minutes.
right. Any other questions about the schedule? Much like last year, to avoid Thanksgiving, we meet on a Tuesday. December 22nd, did we do that last year? I think we canceled that meeting.
November 22nd to avoid Thanksgiving.
Yep,
Right.
yep. And then the December one, usually we're done by then, and we've already kind of voted on the number that we're gonna bring to the public hearing, so I don't think we did meet right before Christmas Eve last year, but we always leave that in there as potential, 'cause anything could come up.
Yeah, you met the
But other than that, it looks good to me.
night.
If nobody has any issues with it,
I'd just like to leave the, if we're gonna, when we meet on the 25th, to look at the presentation schedules one more time.
Yeah.
Just make sure that it's gonna work for all the work for all the stakeholders here now. That evening of October 27th, that's a lot of stuff to do that night. Athletics, music, CIP, that's good. The middle school and technology all on that night. So that's a big one.
but those are
This is-
fluid, right?
This is oh yeah, absolutely. This is what we did this year.
I know. And I thought I had proposed that we move the middle school down to back it up to the high school and put professional and curriculum up, just flip-flop those two. So it's school, not, you see what I mean? Athletics, music, curriculum and instruction, CIP and technology. And then the following week, the middle school, the high school, student services, special ed. That's a huge night too. That was a
So-
long night that night, maintenance and facilities.
There are two things that I will hope we take into consideration, and is curriculum and professional learning. Their budget depends on the school budgets,
Right.
because there are things that Sandy needs to, or
Right.
The curriculum director needs to fund and adjust based on what the schools are doing. So that's why that one is kind of at the last meeting, because things changing with the schools affect that budget. Same thing with facilities, so facilities tends to be the last
Yeah,
presentation.
I'm fine with
because,
facilities
yeah,
being the last one,
It-
and the high school, those big schools being last. That's
Okay.
what I.
So you're saying, so you'd like to maybe see middle school pop down the same night as the high school and have
Put
curriculum go up?
Just, I don't think 2 weeks is gonna make any difference. She's already seen the budgets, or they've already seen the budget. I like all the schools together, that's just my bias.
Okay.
Or we could do the high school the same night as the middle school and move,
Maybe
Music.
technology.
or technology down to the 10th of November.
The smaller budgets,
Mm-hmm.
the smaller presentations, you know.
Okay. And of course, anything could change between now and then, so. All right, with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 8:35 and have a great spring, and we'll see everybody here as a committee again on the 25th of August.
Thank you.
So Christie, I have to ask, did